just a second here. Are we live? Yes. Whoop, there we go. Oh my goodness, I wanted to pop in live. I'm actually going to create some video work around this. Someone recently asked a great question. It was an email question. They said, do you help with how past abandonment affects your present issues? And the answer to that is absolutely I do. But also, I want you to know that your past abandonment isn't just affecting your present issues, it is causing your present issues, causing it. And I want to talk to you about that because it's turning up in childhood. That's where it starts. And we're talking about private work here. It all starts in childhood. And you may have been abandoned actually really by one or more of your parents as a child, but it could also be something as simple as when you had that first experience of going to school, nursery school, kindergarten, whatever, when you felt that you were being abandoned. It can be something as simple as that. And it leaves this deep wound for the child. And here is how that plays out. If you had a time in childhood when you felt abandoned, unloved, unwanted, unsafe, like you couldn't be who you were, who you really are, all of those things cause a wound. And those children are still, those children that feel unsafe, unwanted, unloved, abandoned, are still very much present with you, and they're calling the shots in your adult life. They are. They absolutely are. So I want to talk today just about abandonment. So, however you were abandoned or made to feel abandoned as a child, whether it was technically genuinely being abandoned, having a parent leave you, maybe given up, whatever, or something along the lines of that first school experience. It can be any multitude of things. I've seen that school thing several times with private clients over the last few years. And when we go back and look at that, it's profound. It is just a profound thing. Those kids had the only way that they had to deal with that was to interpret it that if I'm abandoned, it's because of me. It's because I've done something wrong or I'm not good enough in some way. I deserve to be abandoned. I deserve it. That's the only way they have to interpret that experience of abandonment. So you carry that around for a lot of years, and it can be something that you don't even maybe remember all that clearly until we start to talk about it in a discovery call. I promise we're going there. So you carry that around over the years, and your brain begins to do something really interesting that makes that pattern permanent, really hard to get rid of. It registers that abandonment feeling as normal. It becomes a part of your safety zone, your comfort zone. Even though abandonment feels awful. And it will play out in terms of usually your relationships. It can be friendships, one-on-one relationships where you just go through abandonment after abandonment after abandonment. And your brain is keeping you in attracting that and having that happen because that registers as safe. Okay? So it's playing out in your adult life, that simple thing from childhood, that abandonment pattern. Now, what's this have to do with pain or illness? Well, when you feel abandoned and you have this happen and you're playing it out in your adult life, abandonment feels horrible. You feel loss and betrayal and resentment and anger and grief and sadness and loss. You feel those things. And you take all of those emotions on and you hang on to them. You hang on to them. And then the next thing you know, it turns up in your physical experience as pain, chronic conditions, chronic illnesses. It's just such a clear connection. There is absolutely no way that those two things aren't connected. They are. They absolutely are. And that's how it works. So one of the very first things that we do in my private programs is to go in and help those childhood versions of yourself, whatever age they are. And usually the initial one is somewhere between infancy and about the age of 8. They can be older children as well. But we go in and help those younger versions of yourself, give them exactly the compassion that they need so that they feel safe, secure, and loved. That's even the process that I call it. We allow them to be heard. We allow them to be reassured, allow them to heal, and then give them a safe place to go where they're allowed to come and go as they please, where they're always safe, secure, and loved, where they feel safe. And we do this using compassion and your higher self. We use your own compassion to heal those childhood wounds. Now, someone said the other day, oh, you're just doing inner child work. No, this is something far beyond the inner child work that I have seen others practicing. Is far beyond that. If you don't tend to the inner child, if you don't help those younger versions of you as a child, and you just simply go on to deal with something you've got now where you're feeling loss, betrayal, abandonment, whatever, and those issues, it's like having a big hole in a wall. And all you're doing is putting some wallpaper over it. Just you're covering over that big hole in the wall, that big hole in you. And yeah, you're going to feel a little bit better for a while, but is that really, it's going to turn up again. I promise it's going to turn up again because your brain is still wired to keep you safe. And you're going to have abandonment happen again. You're going to have all those emotions, that whole cascade of stuff happening again until you go in and first get those kids safe. That's the first step. So I would love to have a conversation with you if this is you and you have childhood experiences. We all do. And I will drop both in comments. I will leave the link to get on my calendar and have that conversation if you'd like to talk to me about it. I will also put the link above this. Facebook takes a little bit longer for me to be able to do that. This live has to be live and published for a while before I can do that. But I will give you a way to have that conversation with me because I can help you. This is something I'm very skilled at working with. I look forward to talking with you. Take care.